yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Just like a weed.
Oh yeah, baby! The groundhog on February 2nd may very well have been correct. The little hairy bastard turned out to be right because it is currently over 50 degrees, itching closer towards 60 here, and we're in the middle of February. It's absolutely unreal. It's unheard of. But hey, listen, if we're going into an early spring, that only means good news for me because I have been over the cold since after New Year's. But, regardless of all of that, regardless of whether or not I'm over the cold, regardless of the temperature outside, whether it's going to be warm, whether it's going to be cold, whether it's going to be somewhere in the middle, there is one thing that remains constant, and that is the fact that I am always white hot, sizzling like I'm straight off the frying pan. And if you guys haven't realized it, it's Saturday, and you know what that means. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth as we are streaming live across 4 different platforms, across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different accounts. A nice wide outreach as we are continuing our march forward into 2024 and making sure that everybody gets their dosage of DJ Shizzle Dizzle. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle. No. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing, and I want you to take a nice big inhale, and I want you to go, oh, so nice. You gotta do it twice. Let me hear you hit it one more time. Oh, gotta hit the hat trick. You gotta do it not once, not twice, but 3 times. I want you to hit that, and I want you to take a nice big inhale and go, oh, shit. Do you smell that? Oh my God. Do you know what that is? Seriously, do you have any earthly idea what that is? I'm going to tell you what that is. That right there is the smell of pure motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. Two-man kind. Oh yeah, man. I am feeling it. Oh my God, I am burning, baby. I'm on fire so much. I gotta wiggle around. I gotta wiggle around to get this steam off of me. You already know what it is, baby. This is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, the greatest day of the week because I'm live on YouTube. Greatest day of the week, Saturday, February 10th, 2024. Once again, we got a loaded show right here on a Saturday, and I'm very, very happy to see everyone jumping on in the chat. Greatly appreciate everyone stopping on by. We got Dee Dee, got Sarah Habka, we got Grega John, got the Final Hoss. Very, very happy to see everyone jumping on in. And trust me when I tell you, you're going to want to stick around because I got a lot to say this week, just like I had a lot to say last week. I got to catch my breath after that. I'm telling you, it's taking more and more out of me. But let me tell you something. The intro, that's one of the main reasons why people come here, because everyone needs that shot of adrenaline. We have a lot to discuss, including Andrade's character direction. Now that he is back in the WWE, we're going to talk about Rossy Agawa being fired from Bushiroad. We're going to talk about Scott D'Amore and his bombshell firing from TNA Wrestling. And then, of course, we got The Rock, Cody Rhodes, and all the fucking drama that's going on with The Rock and Cody Rhodes heading into WrestleMania 40. And to see who is going to fight Roman Reigns, who's not going to fight Roman Reigns. Is it going to be a double main event with Roman wrestling on both nights, or will it be a triple threat? We do not know. But either way, we already know the real reason. And it's been quite obvious. Coming out of Monday, going into Thursday, it is quite obvious as to why WWE did what they did. They did not care who was in the main event. They did not care whether it was The Rock or Cody or Roman. It doesn't matter whether it was a work or a shoot. It doesn't matter. We all know the real reason why WWE did what they did. It is absolutely disgusting. It is absolutely pathetic. And it goes to show you that WWE has no moral compass or decency whatsoever. We're going to get into that, but first things first, obviously, follow me on all platforms of social media. Follow me on X and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can add me on my personal Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Please make sure that you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, we are both live on the DJ Storms Posse group and the DJ Storms business page. Please go and check those out if you have not already done so. We're also live on the Hardcore Sports Facebook page. We are rapidly growing over there. We're really looking to make the Hardcore Sports Facebook page a destination for great interactions. So please go and check out the Hardcore Sports Facebook page if you haven't already done so. Let me shout out some sponsorship. Shout out to Brittany K. She's a wonderful woman. She is a wonderful human being. Very, very happy to call her a friend. And she does beautifully crafted designs and drawings from scratch on her iPad of pro wrestlers from all different promotions. And she also does social media abbeys and banners. If you guys are looking for a quality social media abbey and banner, please make sure you go and check her out. Her X account is BrittanyK5150. Well, our Instagram is Brittany K Designs. On top of that, shout out to CIS, Corporate Information System, recognized by Forbes as one of America's best recruiting firms. Please go check them out if you're looking to help advance your career. Check them out on their website, www.cisrecruiters.com. One more time, www.cisrecruiters.com. We got a big month ahead of us. We got the rundown for Elimination Chamber. We're going to do the rewind for Elimination Chamber as well immediately following the Elimination Chamber event. It is going to take the place of the LFU. That is going to be on Saturday, February 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. No LFU. It will be the rewind for Elimination Chamber. So please set your calendars for that date. In addition to that, please make sure you set your calendars for the rundown for Revolution. That's going to be on February 29th, very special leap day rundown on February 29th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Very, very vital that you go and check out the rundown, because whenever the rundown comes along, you know there's going to be collaborations. And then, of course, on March 4th at 2 p.m. on a Monday, I'm claiming Mondays as my days, and I'm going to make Mondays tolerable. Monday at 2 p.m., March 4th, it will be the rewind for AEW Revolution, where we will review Sting's last match. We're going to review a triple threat match for the world title. We'll review Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy, Timeless Tony Storm and Deonna Purrazzo, and then we're off to big business in the TD Garden. And my, oh my, are we going to have one hell, and I mean one hell of a night on big business on March 13th. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, hit the like button on the stream, no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it on Rumble. You can go check me out on Rumble as well. Rumble, X, YouTube, or Facebook. Go and hit the like button and share the stream out on all platforms, social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, Rumble. No matter what you use, no matter where you're watching it from, share it out, because we want to get as many people in here as possible, because everyone, and I mean everyone, needs me in their life, because I make people's lives better. I make people's lives better by gracing them with my presence. If you're not living life with a little bit of DJ Shizzle Dizzle, then are you really living it all? The answer is no. On top of that, please make sure, if you have not already done so, please hit the subscribe button, whether it be on my YouTube channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel. We are on the road to 2,400 subscribers on my YouTube channel. We have been kicking ass since the start of the year. The views are up. The watch hours are up. The subscribers are up. Everything is up. We're looking to remain on the up and up. So please make sure you go and share out the stream and you subscribe, whether it be to my channel, the Hardcore Sports channel. We're also on the road to 1,000 subscribers over on the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel. So go and check them out. And on top of that, when you hit the subscribe button, you got to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, you already know the drill. Oh, baby, it is the absolute best time to be on YouTube, because it is the only time that you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn shin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You already know what time it is, people. Hold on, it's in here somewhere. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Take a look at that beautifully crafted magical ace black comb. Hold on, I gotta blow on it. It is hot and it is sizzling, and we're gonna light it up right here on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on Rumble, with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because, like hot, fresh pierogies right off the frying pan, I am just so good. I am the tastiest, most delicious, and most scrumptious snack in the IWC. And everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. And I'll tell you why. Because everybody knows, no matter who you are, whether you like me or you dislike me, everyone knows that there is nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, that can do what I do at the level that I fucking do, bar no one. Why? Because I am the greatest wrestling analyst on the fucking planet, and I don't need no fucking degree to prove it. Nevertheless, we are going to get straight into the festivities here on the Lightning Flash update. Let's talk about an NXT superstar's contract expiring. Fightful Select has learned on Monday that Dijak's WWE contract is up in the spring and summer of this year. Now, I don't see Dijak going anywhere. If you've been watching NXT, which if you haven't, I really don't blame you, because the brand is the worst brand in the industry. But I've watched NXT. I watch it. I just don't review it on the show. I review the pay-per-views, the major premium live events, but I don't review the actual shows. Not anymore. But I will admit, when it comes down to NXT, if there is one individual besides the usual suspects like an Ilya Dragunov or a Carmelo Hayes or a Lyra Valkyria or a Roxanne Perez, minus those individuals, Dijak has been one of the best acts on NXT since he returned to NXT as Dijak. And Dijak is fantastic at what he does. Everything about him screams main event level talent. He's got a character, he's got the promo ability, he's got the look, he's got the in-ring ability. Everything about Dijak just screams main event level pro wrestler. And the fact that he has not been given that opportunity, the fact that he hasn't even won a championship in WWE, it's almost downright criminal. And Dijak, I've been calling it for a while now, Dijak should be the guy to take the NXT championship off of Dragunov. I don't know why the fuck they wasted that match on NXT TV. Because if there's anything that is true, it's the fact that Dijak has earned, and I mean has fucking earned, a championship run of some sort. North American title, tag team titles, NXT title, whatever it may be. I'm actually surprised that Dijak is not on the main roster doing what he's doing. It's like Dijak, every single time that he's getting ready to break through that glass ceiling, they pull him back. And I don't know why, because Dijak could easily be one of their next top-tier stars for years to come if they allow him to be. So I really do hope that Dijak is ultimately the guy to beat Dragunov for the NXT Championship. We need Dijak to beat Dragunov at Stand and Deliver. Dijak needs to be the flag bearer in NXT, and we need to get Dragunov up on the main roster. No matter who he's fighting, no matter which brand he's on, Dragunov on the main roster is best for business. Dragunov brings a sense of legitimacy to anything that he does. Doesn't matter whether he's the open of the show, doesn't matter whether he's the middle of the show, doesn't matter whether he's the main event of the show. Dragunov is legit, and he makes everyone around him better. We need him on the main roster. As far as Dijak goes, he needs to be NXT champion. It actually makes me wonder if they wasted that match on NXT TV because Dijak hasn't signed a new contract yet. I hope he resigns. I hope he resigns because he is very valuable when it comes to NXT. NXT would be a lot worse off without him. PW Insider. PW Insider reported that Tiffany Stratton is officially done with NXT, and she will be full-time on SmackDown going forward. I am extremely, and I mean extremely happy to hear this because Tiffany Stratton, she has been ready for a long, long time. Matter of fact, she has been mistreated in NXT for the last several months before she got called up. Tiffany Stratton, I've been very vocal about this and I stick by this. Tiffany Stratton, coming out of that feud with Becky Lynch, looked like a fucking bum. And she lost every single match, every single major match that she was in following that. She lost to Becky on NXT. She lost to Becky at No Mercy. She lost the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. She lost to Fallon Henley, and she had to be her ranch assistant for a day. Stupid. Absolutely fucking stupid. It's very, very frustrating to see a woman like Tiffany Stratton and how much talent she has, how much work she has put in, how much time she has put in with that company, and have her end her NXT run on probably the lowest of the lowest notes. Very, very, very disheartening. Now that she's on the main roster, she's kind of fighting an uphill battle. She's kind of fighting an uphill battle because all that people are going to remember about Tiffany Stratton is the fact that, oh yeah, she's the woman that lost to Becky Lynch twice. Doesn't matter whether she looked good in defeat or not. Tiffany Stratton was knocked down several pegs. It was the same incident that happened with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 36 in an empty arena, in an empty performance center during the pandemic. It is very, very, very hard for me to look at Tiffany Stratton now and see legit, but she has been ready from a talent standpoint to go to the main roster for a long, long time now. And I'm very, 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 very happy that she is on the main roster. She should be on the main roster. She should have been on the main roster a long, long time ago. Now, What happens with Tiffany Stratton going forward? Well, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious that Tiffany Stratton, she should be in the Elimination Chamber. She's going to beat Shotzi next week on SmackDown, and she's going to the Elimination Chamber. That I am very, very happy for. That I'm very, very happy about. Tiffany Stratton belongs in there. I think that if you put her in these big matches, even if her main roster run is a little early, it is going to help her gain some of that credibility back. How do you make Tiffany Stratton credible again after you fucking buried her at the hands of Becky Lynch? You put her in the ring with top-tier talent in big matches and have her have great performances. The Rumble was a decent start. Let's keep that going with the Elimination Chamber. And if I was booking Tiffany Stratton, I would have Tiffany Stratton. I would have her. She goes into the chamber, obviously. Obviously, she loses the chamber. I would book her in a feud on SmackDown, potentially with a Naomi or maybe an Asuka or a Kairi Sane. Because if she's in the ring with those individuals and she's holding her own and she's doing her thing with those individuals who are some of the most legit women's wrestlers on the planet right now, that will help boost her stock. That will help boost her credibility, and she'll get back to where she needs to be. Andrade, he returned to the WWE at the Royal Rumble. And I would say it was a pretty fun return. I'm glad that he's back. I think that he's going to get a lot more opportunities this time than he did last time. And I'd really like to hope that they have big plans for him, because Andrade, he's too good to be sitting around doing nothing. Although I'm struggling to find out where they place him. However, PW Insider Elite reported that Andrade is set to undergo a character change now that he is re-signed with the WWE. The site wrote, the current plan is for Andrade to be a babyface on the WWE Raw brand. End quote. I got no issue with that. He's done a lot in WWE as a heel. During the last couple months of his AEW run, he was a babyface. Andrade was doing his thing as a babyface, and he was delivering some great matches. People actually wanted to root for him. They wanted to get behind him. So if Andrade is going to be the workhorse babyface that he is, if he keeps that intensity, he keeps that drive, he keeps that motivation, and he just goes out, does what he does, and he's not this cringe babyface. He's not a cringe babyface that's always playing up to the crowd. He's a badass babyface. That will work for him. That will absolutely work for him. And I got zero issue with this. Whatsoever. Him being a babyface could end up being a nice change of pace. It could be a great change of trajectory to his career. It could very well open up the door for a lot of new possibilities, considering that there's a lot of heels right now. I got a report regarding Stardom and Bushiroad. They had an incident with Rossi Agawa, and he was fired from Stardom earlier this week. Dave Meltzer gave us an update on the Bushiroad incident with Rossi Nagawa, and he was involved, apparently, in a withdrawal of a large number of Stardom players and staff. Meltzer said, and I quote, Bushiroad had known about talent leaving, and some were given legal threats in recent weeks. Those who are leaving wouldn't be doing so until their contracts expired. This part of the story is why Julia, who has been sought after by WWE recently, Julia will not be wrestling in Chicago at New Japan Pro Wrestling Windy City Riot, and had said that she was taking time off in March when her contract expires. Now, some people were asking, well, why didn't Tony Khan go after Julia? Apparently, there is a report going around. Now, I'm not sure if I believe this, but apparently the reason why AEW is not going after Julia is because of the fact that Julia stiffed Willow Nightingale pretty hard during their matchup over the summer, where Julia captured the New Japan Strong Open Women's World Championship. And apparently, seeing that she stiffed Willow pretty hard, her match with Athena had to be pushed back another week because Willow was recovering from injury. Now, I'm not sure how much I believe that, because that just sounds rather petty. I'm not sure if that was a Tony Khan decision. I'm not sure if that was a Willow Nightingale decision, but it does sound kind of stupid. I mean, it's pro wrestling. It's not ballet. But the whole Bushiroad incident, people were throwing out internet memes left and right. It honestly seems like Rossi Agawa, it almost seems like he was an inside agent for WWE. It almost seemed like he and many others in the industry, they were all inside agents for the WWE, trying to use the WWE in order to kind of become bigger, become more notable. Oh, look, these individuals, they're showing up on WWE TV and they came from Stardom. You should watch Stardom. WWE, they're kind of sly. They're playing a very sneaky game there. It's almost as if WWE was trying to monopolize the Japanese market from right underneath our noses. Again, that's just speculation that's going around, but it really caught a lot of people by surprise. Tony Khan even took to Twitter to make a couple of under the radar tweets, kind of with a couple of GIFs. Not really out there in the open mentioning anyone by name, but people were wondering why Tony Khan wasn't able to work with Stardom. Maybe Rossi Agawa was the reason why. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Rossi Nagawa was responsible for a lot of withdrawals of talent on Stardom, and a lot of people were throwing it out there as if he was an undercover agent for the WWE, giving talent to the WWE. People were asking why Tony Khan didn't work with Stardom before for Forbidden Door and other shows like that. Maybe this is why. Maybe there was an issue with Rossi Nagawa. We don't know. But I would not be surprised if the WWE was working behind the scenes with Rossi Nagawa in an attempt to monopolize the Japanese market, even though they couldn't make an NXT Japan at the time. And now that Rossi is fired, maybe we could see Tony Khan work with Stardom going forward into the future. I'm not sure if this means Julia is going over to AEW, but we'll have to wait and see. But it wouldn't surprise me if Rossi Nagawa was an undercover agent for the WWE. Moving on here. Scott D'Amore. This one was an even bigger shocker than Rossi Nagawa. Or Agawa, I'm sorry, Rossi Agawa. I don't know why I was saying Nagawa. Scott D'Amore. He's been one of the biggest pieces of news coming out of the Wrestling Week. PW Insider, they were the ones that dropped this bombshell first and foremost. PW Insider dropped the bombshell on Wednesday and stated that Scott D'Amore had been fired as the president of TNA Wrestling. Anthony Chacon, Anthem's president of entertainment, was named the new president of TNA Wrestling, and he will be the one running the day-to-day operations of the promotion. And this was revealed to the talent over a conference call, again, according to PW Insider, in which it was stated that this decision did not sit well with a lot of talent. And a lot of talent came out in support of Scott D'Amore. Many of people have stated that they signed with TNA because of Scott D'Amore, because of that great backstage locker room environment. And then House of Wrestling, Nick Hausman, fucking asshole Nick Hausman, Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling, he followed up with this report, and he stated that the company, TNA, is now open to releases after Scott D'Amore's termination. Now, what is the reason behind Scott D'Amore's termination? Well, I was doing some research, and I actually found out a report from Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer talked about Scott D'Amore's firing on Wrestling Observer Radio. And Meltzer stated, and I quote, he thought that it's time, to spend more money, try and go after more talent, try to build this thing up. And the Anthem people were kind of like, we don't want to increase the budget, and maybe even wanted to cut back on the budget, but definitely didn't want to increase the budget. And it was just a standoff. And that's kind of what happened. He'd always been trying to get a bigger budget, and he's always been rebuffed, end quote. So apparently, Scott D'Amore, he got fired for wanting to do the right thing and build up TNA. Now, I don't know Anthem's mentality, but it really does seem like TNA is owned by people that don't give a shit about the company. They're owned by a bunch of worthless suits and ties that do not give a fuck about professional wrestling. All they care about is making money and spending as least amount of money as possible. And it's sad. Scott D'Amore being fired from TNA could very well mean much more different than we think. Scott D'Amore's firing is big. Scott D'Amore being fired could very well signify a new era of TNA wrestling, and not for the better. Hell, I would not be shocked at all if this could very well be the end of TNA wrestling. Many people have pointed to Scott D'Amore as to why TNA wrestling remained afloat. Because TNA wrestling, many people were saying TNA Impact has been dead for years. But Scott D'Amore, he was able to create that great backstage environment. He was able to create a lot of great stars over there, develop a lot of great feuds, a lot of great matches. Everything about TNA Impact was great because of Scott D'Amore. And now that he's gone, I don't know about you guys, but this could very well be the end of TNA wrestling. And it's quite sad considering that they seem to be on the road back to where they needed to be. They were going to be a de facto number 3. Now with Scott D'Amore gone, they could very well be done altogether. Now, what happens with Scott D'Amore? I'm not sure what goes down with Scott D'Amore, and I wish I had the answers, but I don't. Scott D'Amore, seeing as he is so well respected by the wrestling industry, seeing as Scott D'Amore has been, he's been so beloved, and he's very well organized when it comes to booking a wrestling show. He's very good when it comes down to the creative aspect. He's very good when it comes to working with talent and trying to build solid relationships with talent, all that other stuff. I definitely believe that Scott D'Amore would be a great pickup for Tony Khan. I really do. And I say this for one specific reason. Scott D'Amore being fired from TNA, it could very well be the death of TNA, but it could mean good news for someone else. And that someone else could very well be Tony Khan. Tony Khan has got his hands full with AEW right now. Tony Khan has got his hands full with AEW, trying to make AEW 2024 the new 2021 AEW. He can't do that if he's worrying about AEW and Ring of Honor too. So if I was Tony Khan, I would be picking up Scott D'Amore. I would call up Scott D'Amore. I would bring Scott D'Amore on, and I would bring in Scott D'Amore to be the new president and CEO of Ring of Honor under Tony Khan's watch. He's the guy that runs the shows. He's the guy that makes the matches. He's the guy that writes the stories. Scott D'Amore should be the new president of Ring of Honor. Because with him bringing his sense of organization to Ring of Honor, that will bring the Ring of Honor brand to the next level. Let me know what you guys think. I think that Scott D'Amore being the new president of Ring of Honor will definitely help the Ring of Honor brand overall. Liv Morgan, she was briefly in the news this week. Liv Morgan, as we know, she's competing on Monday Night Raw in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match to see who goes to Perth, Australia to fight in the Elimination Chamber, and then the winner of that chamber match will go on to fight Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. As you know, Liv Morgan was arrested for the possession of marijuana and another synthetic substance. According to PW Insider, Liv Morgan's criminal case in Sumter County, Florida, has officially been closed. They must have realized that it was a complete non-factor, and this is all being swept under the rug because ultimately it was a rental car, and Liv Morgan realistically didn't do anything illegal. But I'm assuming that this case being closed means that it's not as relevant as some of the other cases down in Florida. I'm sure that there's plenty of other cases that are much worse than a woman in a rental car owning marijuana and a synthetic substance. I had a feeling it was going to be a non-factor, and it turned out to be a non-factor. Vice News came out with a report on John Laurinaitis. You already know John Laurinaitis. My name is Mr. John Laurinaitis. I am the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and the creator of the greatest ideology in sports entertainment history, and that is people power. John Laurinaitis, his lawyer came out with a statement, and his lawyer objected to use the term cover-up, but confirmed that John Laurinaitis knew about Ashley Massaro's allegations that she was sexually assaulted in Kuwait, what was it? Kuwait, Hawaii, I think. I think something along those lines. Kuwait, Hawaii, I believe. Yeah, Kuwait, Hawaii. If that's how you pronounce it. Again, this is why I am an accounting major. I'm not an English major. She was sexually assaulted in Kuwait, Hawaii. Will list WWE being on a tour over there. The lawyer also stated, and I quote, most upper-level management was contradicting WWE's claim that executives were never made aware of it, yet the upper echelon talent in WWE were very much aware of it. The executives and management were aware of all of this, and they completely neglected her claims. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. And by the way, don't think for one second that John Laurinaitis is innocent here. John Laurinaitis, no matter what the reason was, whether because he was manipulated by Vince McMahon, whether or not he was threatened by Vince McMahon to keep his mouth shut or else his job would be terminated, doesn't matter because he was still in on it. He was still in on it. It wasn't just Vince McMahon, Johnny Ace, people power. He was in on it too. Therefore, he is just as much of a liability. He is just as much as a piece of shit as Vince McMahon is. Doesn't matter what kind of cover-up, doesn't matter what kind of statements, doesn't matter what kind of allegations that John Laurinaitis or his team wants to bring to light. Doesn't matter. Does not fucking matter. Whether he wants to flip the script, doesn't matter if he wants to be a crab in the barrel with Vince and then turn on him because he doesn't want to suffer the same fate as Vince McMahon. He was involved in the cover-up too. Just by being associated with Vince McMahon, he's an accomplice to it. Absolutely pathetic. And the fact that anyone, and I know that there's people out there, they haven't really made themselves known, but I know that there's people out there. There are people out there that actually take John Laurinaitis' word seriously. There are people out there that are trying to downplay the allegations of Janelle Grant. Let me tell you something. There are a lot more women that are going to come forward. And when they do, it is going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing to see Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis and all these other fucking pieces of shit buried under all of these lawsuits. Matter of fact, they don't even deserve jail time. They deserve worse than jail time. You may as well keep them sanctioned underneath the prison. You may as well keep them underneath the prison in a dirt cell. Stayed put to rot forever. His hands, John Laurinaitis' hands, are just as dirty as Vince McMahon. I think we were all very much aware of this. But my God, more and more material just keeps on coming out. And you know what? I hope that more material continues to come out until there's nowhere left. There's nowhere left for Vince McMahon to run. And John Laurinaitis as well. Disgusting piece of shit. No matter what he says, he was a part of it. And he deserves everything that he's getting and then some, as does Vince. Warner Brothers Discovery, they actually came out with a big announcement. They announced that they have partnered up with ESPN and Fox to create a new sports streaming service. Now, the reason why I bring this to light is because Warner Brothers obviously houses AEW. And with Warner Brothers Discovery housing AEW, and with Andrew Zarian being very, very, and I mean very adamant about AEW getting the streaming deal, and especially with last week stating that AEW could very well become a cable/streaming hybrid, that right there is going to take AEW to the next level. If AEW recently just got a section on ESPN. I don't want to throw anything out there. I don't want to make any speculations, but if AEW is a part of this, they get the streaming service, they could get a spot on ESPN, which would open them up to more eyes. I don't think that they'll get a spot on Fox, but who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they get a spot with a Collision or a Rampage on Fox. I don't know about you guys, but I do believe that this is going to be a big break for AEW, and it's going to get them in front of more eyes. And you should think that too. AEW potentially being part of the Warner Brothers ESPN Fox partnership, that right there is going to bring more eyeballs to the product. Considering that they just opened up a section on ESPN, that is already going to play into an effect. I'm not sure what's going to go down with Fox, or if Fox is even going to touch AEW, but there's a chance that they could. Maybe they bring on a Rampage. SmackDown is going to be moving to the USA Network. Maybe an FS1 could get a Rampage, or maybe an FS1 could get a Collision. Who knows? We could see something along those lines. We could potentially see something along the lines of maybe we see an HBO Max and this new streaming service. They could house all of the past episodes of Rampage, Dynamite, Collision, and the pay-per-views, and then we still get the weekly programming on cable TV while getting them on the streaming service. It's going to be very interesting to see where AEW fits in all of this. And now we got the big one. The big one before we get into the weekly show reviews. And I know a lot of people have been wanting me to rant and rave on this. The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes, and this entire fucking mumble-jumbled mess of a situation. So, we go from Friday, where Cody Rhodes, like a fucking idiot, claims that he's taking the title away from Roman, but not at WrestleMania. Taking the title away from Roman, but not at WrestleMania. No one knows what the fuck that means. No one knows whether or not he's choosing Rollins. No one knows whether he's choosing Roman. Nothing was official. All he did was he came out, invited The Rock out to the ring. The Rock embraced Cody, and then Cody Rhodes walked away. Cody Rhodes walked away, and Cody Rhodes pretty much gave up his spot. Gave up his spot to The Rock. So, shit hit the fan really, really quickly. Shit hit the fan really, really quickly. The incident at the end of SmackDown sparked up a movement. The Whoa movement. The Whoa movement, where everyone wanted Cody Rhodes. There were reports coming out left and right. Sports Skeeta was reporting that Cody Rhodes was going to fight Rollins and he was going to win the World Heavyweight title and then challenge the winner of Roman and The Rock at SummerSlam, and we were going to get a title unification match because Triple H, he doesn't like booking two world champions. He wants there to be one world champion. That was a report that was going around. There was a report going around that Cody, this past Monday on Raw, he was acting very somber backstage. And then shit really started to hit the fan when The Rock's daughter, Ava, deleted her X account because she was receiving death threats from the fans, which was completely inexcusable. I just want to make that very, very clear. Completely inexcusable. And it really took away. It took away from the real motive that people were trying to put out there. It took away and made everyone look bad. It made the entire community look bad, even the ones that were fighting for what was right. And that was Cody in the main event of WrestleMania, beating Roman and finishing his story. And Ava did not deserve that whatsoever. Listen, her father's an asshole. She is not. She's an innocent bystander here. She's a complete innocent bystander here, and she does not deserve any flack. She does not deserve any heat that's coming her way whatsoever. And the fact that people would go so far as to do that, that just goes to show you how disgusting the community really is. If I was in a position where I could, then I would delete my social medias if I did not have this brand. I would follow Ava's route and I would delete all my social medias because at the end of the day, social media is a waste of time. The lowest of the low when it comes to human beings, if you even want to classify some of these irrelevant schmucks as human beings. The lowest of the low reside on social media. And it's moments like that that come around in which these fucking parasites think that it's okay for them to go and send death threats to anybody. Never okay. Never okay in any scenario, and I'm very disgusted at anyone that would even go after Ava. I don't even like Ava. I don't even like The Rock's daughter, but I'm not going to go out of my way and send her death threats. You don't have to like anyone, but death threats on social media, shit like that, never okay. So the report was going around on Monday that Cody was very somber, and the WWE, they were acknowledging the fact that Cody Rhodes was getting all the support. We had the hashtag We Want Cody movement. Then it came out from PW Insider that WWE was monitoring the reaction to Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock. They were keeping a very, very close eye on this scenario. Then Dave Meltzer came out on Wrestling Observer newsletter noting that WWE was expecting Rhodes to turn into Daniel Bryan in 2014 when the fans rallied behind Bryan and made him a bigger star. So then WWE is trying to play it off as if this was always the plan. Wrestling Observer came out stating that the plan on Friday night was Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. We'll see how that plays out, according to Dave Meltzer, but WWE, they were indeed expecting Cody Rhodes to turn into Daniel Bryan, and Cody Rhodes was pretty much made into a martyr. Bryan Alvarez, and then, like I'm telling you, pieces and pieces of news just started coming out left, right, and center. It never fucking stopped. The movement was trending all fucking weekend. Bryan Alvarez was told that WWE actually planted pro-Cody Rhodes signs at NXT Vengeance Day. They monitored the scenario where The Rock was booed. The Rock was booed every single time they showcased The Rock in some form of a video package throughout the weekend, whether it be at a live event, whether it be at an NXT Vengeance Day premium live event. PW Insider then reported that The Rock 100% was performing in the ring at WrestleMania, and it's a done deal. He said that he had no plans of pulling out of the match. He says there is no scenario, and I quote, where The Rock is not wrestling Roman at the show unless something unforeseen happens, like an injury. Shit was going around left, right, and center, back and forth. Then we get the press conference. We go into Thursday and the WrestleMania 40 press conference, which, by the way, it was a complete waste of time. I did not watch it live. I saw the highlights on social media, but I did not watch it live. Why would I watch a fucking press conference live? It's the same shit every single time. It was nothing more than bad theater. It was nothing more than fucking shitty Broadway. If I want to watch Broadway, if I want to watch cinema, I'll go to the movies and check out the next top-tier Marvel movie. If I wanted to watch cinema, I'll go check out the next horror movie that comes out. I don't want cinema with my wrestling. I want pro wrestling with my pro wrestling. Thank you. So we get this press conference, a waste of time because no one was watching the press conference for a Pat McAfee or to hear analytics from Big E or to watch CM Punk stand there in a suit with an arm brace. They were not here to watch Seth Rollins. They weren't here to see Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley face off. They weren't here to see what Bianca Belair had to say. No, they were here for the answer for one question and one question only. What is the deal with The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes? What was the deal with it? Is it going to be a triple threat? Is it going to be Cody and Roman? Is it going to be Rock and Roman? Is it going to be Cody and Seth? Is it going to be Rock and Roman night 1? Is it going to be Rock and Roman night 2? Is it going to be Cody and Roman night 2 after Roman Reigns beats The Rock on night 1? The only thing that we were looking forward to, that anyone was looking forward to at that press conference, they wanted the answer to the question, what is going on with Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock at WrestleMania? It was a question that could have easily been answered within 30 seconds on a Raw or a SmackDown, yet they made a whole hour press conference out of it. An unnecessary press conference out of it. So Cody Rhodes doesn't even come out until the end. We go through all of this bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. Bianca, CM Punk, Big E, and Rhea Ripley, and Nia Jax, they got confirmed for the Chamber, and Rollins comes out with his fucking wife's shoes. Roman Reigns comes out, and he selects The Rock. Roman Reigns selects The Rock. The Rock was being booed out of the building. People were not in favor of The Rock whatsoever. So then The Rock showcases the Bloodline family tree, and he said that this is the biggest matchup in WrestleMania history, a match bound by blood. Cody Rhodes then comes on in and says that it's bullshit. Blah, 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 says that it's bullshit after he just gave up his spot, completely fucking ignoring what happened on SmackDown, where he said, oh yeah, I'm taking that championship from you, but not at WrestleMania. So he ends up choosing Roman Reigns. He says that his family would be ashamed of him. And then The Rock comes on in and says, hold on a minute. If you're going to disrespect his blood, you're disrespecting my blood. He slaps Cody Rhodes, and then he leaves with Roman Reigns. So, pretty much, I'm going to break it down for you. Pretty much the whole scenario here was Cody and Roman was never initially booked for the show. Triple H booked Cody to win the Royal Rumble, knowing that The Rock was in on the cards for a match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, still booked Cody to win the Rumble, wasted a second Royal Rumble win on Cody Rhodes, and then he pretty much has him give up his spot to The Rock on SmackDown. Cody was somber all weekend. We don't get any explanation as to why Cody Rhodes brought in The Rock to begin with. Cody Rhodes chooses Roman Reigns because if he didn't, then the people would have revolted. And then The Rock turns heel, which, by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there for everyone. I see no one talking about this. I see absolutely nobody talking about this. and yet it is staring everyone right in the fucking face. So I'm just going to say it. The Rock's heel turn made absolutely no sense. I want you to think about that. Why did The Rock's heel turn make no sense? I want you to think about this. The Rock implied that he had a problem with Cody Rhodes talking about Roman's bloodline, because if you're talking about my bloodline, you're talking about his bloodline, and now we have a problem. Hey, Rocky, let me ask you a question. Where were you all these years ago when Roman Reigns was feuding with legitimately everyone else? When he was feuding with AJ Styles, when he was feuding with Baron Corbin, dumping dog food on each other? Where were you when he was feuding with John Cena, where pretty much they all implied in some way, shape, or form that Roman Reigns was only in the position that he was in was because of nepotism? Oh, yeah, he was off making San Andreas, and he was off making Black Adam, which was a box office flop. Why now? What makes Cody Rhodes any different? Rock didn't give a shit if anyone insulted his bloodline, but why now? The Rock's heel turn made absolutely zero sense. And whether you want to admit it or not, that's the truth. So The Rock turns heel. Rock turns heel makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. The only reason why The Rock turned heel is quite simple. The only reason why The Rock turned heel is because they had no choice but to turn him heel. They had no choice but to turn The Rock heel, because if they didn't, then the fans would have shit all over this match. It's the same shit with Batista back in 2014. And Batista won the Royal Rumble back in 2014. Batista, he had to turn heel because people were never going to cheer for him. They were not going to get one single iota of a cheer towards Batista when you had Daniel Bryan right there, and everyone was gravitating towards him. It's the same shit here. The only reason why The Rock has turned heel is because no one was going to cheer The Rock over Cody. The majority of fans were revolting against The Rock. And if they went forth with The Rock and Roman Reigns, they would have hijacked the match. The fans would have hijacked the match. Now listen, I'm very much aware that the majority of the real wrestling fans are not watching WWE anymore. The majority of the real wrestling fans, they're off watching New Japan, they're off watching AEW. The majority of them are watching AEW. The reason why the fans would have revolted is because of the fact that WWE fans, even if they are a bunch of mindless sheep, WWE fans realize that Cody Rhodes has been built up for God knows how long now. WWE fans realize that Cody Rhodes has been built up for God knows how long. They were preaching about a story. They were building this up for 2 years. That's the whole reason why he came back to the WWE. He came back to win the title that his father never held. And then The Rock coming on in, regardless of the fact that WWE fans are the dumbest fucks on the planet, even they know that it's bullshit. We would have gotten the same exact scenario with Brock Lesnar and Goldberg back at WrestleMania 20. It would have been the same shit with Roman and Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. Would have been the same shit that happened with Roman and Jinder at Money in the Bank 2018. The fans would have absolutely tore that match to shreds. The fans would have torn that match to shreds. They would have been chanting, "We want Cody." They would have been doing the Mexican wave. They would have been doing everything but watching that match. WWE knew damn well what they got themselves into after the weekend was over. The WWE had no choice but to call an audible and go back to Cody and Roman, because if they didn't, the backlash would have been insurmountable. They were even thrown off by the anti-Rocky chants. I'm not sure what's to be thrown off about. You fucked over Cody. And then the biggest thing of them all, and this is what disgusts me the most. It's not even the fact that Cody Rhodes was fucked over initially and they had to bring him back in. That's not even the worst part. You want to know what the worst part is? the worst part of it all is the fact that WWE, whether or not this was the plan all along, whether or not this was an audible call, whether they shot themselves into a work, whether they worked themselves into a shoot, whether it was supposed to be Rock and Roman or Cody and Roman or Rock versus Roman versus Cody Rhodes, it doesn't matter. Because the underlying reason, the only reason why this was done was to deflect attention away from the Vince McMahon and Janelle Grant scandal and wave the Rock in everyone's face. Hey, look over here. We're going to do Rock and Roman. Cody's going to get fucked over. And then the fans, they go on and on throughout all this discourse arguing whether or not it's going to be The Rock, whether or not it's going to be Roman, whether it's not it's going to be Cody, whether it's not it's going to be a triple threat match, whether it's not it's going to be 2 one-on-one matches on both separate nights. Doesn't matter. The fans were now talking about that more so than they were talking about the Vince McMahon scandal. WWE deliberately did this shit. They deliberately did this shit to turn everyone's head towards what's going down between The Rock, Roman, and Cody. And they wanted people to talk about that rather than the negative press of Vince McMahon and Janelle Grant. This company has absolutely zero moral compass and zero decency whatsoever. Doesn't matter who the fuck's in charge. Triple H, even if he was in a lose-lose situation at that Royal Rumble press conference, Triple H handled that shit horribly. Triple H handled that shit horribly, and they had to have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins pretty much act as covers, human shields. They took the bait. They took the bullets for Triple H. This company is fucking disgusting. All you had to say was, we do not support this whatsoever, and we condemn everything that went down, and we condemn Vince McMahon. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. We condemn Vince McMahon, and we do not wish to be associated with him whatsoever, and we wish everything good to come to the victims. We hope that justice is served. That's all they had to say. That's all they had to say. But no, let's deflect. Let's deflect and make the most tone-deaf decision of all time. Let's deflect, make the most tone-deaf decision of all time, whether it's going to be a shoot, whether it's going to be a work. Let's do that. Let's do that and try and deflect all the attention away from the Janelle Grant, Vince McMahon scandal. And I don't know what the fuck WWE thinks was going to happen, huh? I don't know what they thought was going to happen. Listen, it's something that's going to be unavoidable. Until Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis and everyone that was involved in this is behind bars, until it's behind bars, they are behind bars and they are concealed away, never to be seen, walking on the street in front of the general public ever again. This is all that people are going to be talking about. It may not be your fault. It may not be Triple H's fault. It may not be Stephanie McMahon's fault. It may not be Nick Khan's fault. But at the end of the day, they work for a company that was tied to this fucking monstrosity of a human being known as Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And what they did here was absolutely disgusting. The entire ordeal with The Rock, with Cody, with Roman, the press conference, the waste of an hour that we had on Thursday, it was all to deflect attention away from the Vince McMahon, Janelle Grant scandal. A complete and utter disgraceful act by the company, when all they had to do was condemn Vince McMahon, condemn his actions, and say that we do not wish to be associated with him ever again. That's all you had to say, because now there's going to be more people that are going to come out. And what do you think is going to happen after WrestleMania, after Roman, Rock, and Cody and this whole ordeal's all over? We still got a court case looming, and we still got more victims that are going to come out. At the end of the day, it may not be Triple H's fault. It may not be Nick Khan's fault. But at the end of the day, all they had to do was acknowledge it and condemn it, and they chose not to. This company has absolutely no sense of decency whatsoever. Absolutely fucking disgusting. And no matter what they try and do, no matter what happens, even if they manage to deflect people's attention to what's going on with Roman, Rock, and Cody, still, there is going to be more things that are going to come out. There's going to be more reports. There's going to be more victims. There's going to be more stories. There's going to be a hell of a lot more things that are going to come out about Vince. And that shit could very well outweigh what Roman, Rock, and Cody are doing. So what you essentially did is you made shit worse for yourself when all you had to do was stick to the plan with Roman and Cody, and then you just had to condemn Vince. WWE tries everything to make them seem like they're perfect and they could do no wrong. When WrestleMania is over and we got more victims coming out and the court case looming, what do you think people are going to be talking about? They're not going to be talking about Backlash in France. They're not going to be talking about fucking Money in the Bank. We're not going to be talking about SummerSlam. We're not even going to be talking about AEW. We're going to be talking about the Vince McMahon scandal, because all we want is justice. All we want is for Vince McMahon to be far away from the general public as possible, left in a jail cell to rot. It is unbelievable, really. It is unbelievable how this company just constantly makes things worse for themselves. Just bite the fucking bullet. Just bite the fucking bullet. There's no other way to do it, because the more that you try and come up with deflection tactics, the worse your product is going to be. I don't give a shit. I do not give one single fuck about anything that's going on with The Rock. I don't give a fuck about anything that's going on with Roman. I don't even give a fuck about what's going on with Cody. Cody Rhodes isn't even my favorite wrestler. MJF is. The only thing that I want, and the only thing that a lot of people are looking for right now, majority of people don't even give a fuck about The Rock, Roman, and Cody. Majority of people are just looking for this whole ordeal with Roman Reigns being the tribal chief and Cody Rhodes and his story. They're looking for it to end. They're just looking for Cody to finish his story by ending Roman Reigns and his god-awful title reign. Because Roman's title reign has seen one solid year past its expiration date. Roman Reigns' title reign should not have seen a day past WrestleMania 39. Cody should have won last year. We wouldn't even be in this ordeal if Cody just won last year. Then you wouldn't have even had to worry about this mumble-jumbled fucking mess of a booking scenario this year. You could have done Rock and Roman without the title. You could have done Cody versus whoever else the fuck you wanted to do. Cody and Randy Orton. Could have did Cody and Randy Orton. But no. You had to keep the title on Roman because he's got to get as close to Hulk Hogan's record as possible. He's got to get as close to Bruno Sammartino's record as possible. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns ain't doing shit for the product. Not a draw, not moving merch sales. He's not helping the TV product. He's not helping the championship. He's not helping anyone else around him. Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa do not feel important whatsoever. Solo Sikoa has pretty much become a glorified jobber, and that is pathetic. The whole entire thing is a complete fucking disaster. Could have been avoided. But no. WWE now looks like a bunch of pieces of shit because of what they did here. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of people out there, you people, and I know that there's people watching me that fell for this shit. I know there is people that are watching me that fell for this shit with Cody Rhodes, that got consumed in the Cody Rock Roman bullshit, all to cover up and drive attention away from the Vince McMahon scandal, and y'all ate that shit up. WWE threw you slop, and you ate it up like the fucking pigs that you are. You all disgust me. That's all I got as far as the news, rumors, and reports go. I'm looking to move past this shit. I actually just want to get this done so that way I can relax and then watch Collision. Because at least with Collision, I know that I'm going to get great wrestling. I know that there's not going to be any nonsensical decisions. And I know for a fact that we are going to get new stars getting the opportunities that they deserve. moving on here. Raw. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw. I don't want to say it was bad. We did get a couple of decent material, a couple of decent things on the show. We got a solid amount of decent material, but let's be honest here. No one, and I mean nobody cared about the majority of things that happened on the show. The only thing people were looking for answers as to what was going down with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and The Rock. And then you had Seth Rollins in there. By the way, Seth Rollins at that press conference, Seth Rollins looked like a complete fucking doofus. Seth Rollins looked like the biggest, not even a third wheel, the biggest fourth wheel I have ever fucking seen. The only reason why anyone gave Monday Night Raw a watch was because they wanted answers regarding the whole Cody Rhodes scenario. And we didn't get the answers. And why wouldn't we? Why would we? WWE was never going to give us the answers on Raw. They had a press conference on Thursday. And then we got the answers to the press conference on Thursday. Which, by the way, we still haven't gotten an answer as to why Cody Rhodes even brought in The Rock last Friday on SmackDown anyway. They played the video package from last Friday, and the crowd was booing the video package. Seth Rollins, he kicked off the show. He was dancing a little. I'm guessing that he must be making good progress. And I'd like to hope that the progress continues. He was all happy. So I'm guessing that Seth Rollins, he may very well end up making WrestleMania, and he may end up going forth with WrestleMania just fine. Cody took the mic. He said, Seth Rollins, St. Louis, what do we want to talk about? The crowd was chanting, Rocky sucks, which brought a smile to my face. Rollins said that we need answers. You're damn right we do, Rollins. We do need answers. We need answers as to why WWE is run by a bunch of pieces of shit. We need the answers to why does WWE constantly try and neglect any wrongdoing that they do? Why does WWE constantly fuck up the most simplest of things? What is wrong with WWE just acknowledging that they are wrong many a times? Don't understand it. Those are the answers that I need. Those are the questions that I need the answers to. Rollins said he needs this match just as much as Cody. So Rollins is begging like a fucking bitch. Rollins says that he needs to test himself against the best, and you are the best. Are you going to fight me at WrestleMania? Drew McIntyre came out. Drew said, what the hell? You're going to potentially screw all this up. I took Punk out, and yet you got inside his head. Cody, don't listen to him. You got to finish the story. Think about all the work you did over the course of the last year. Don't let me down. Don't let all these people down. And don't let your dad down. Rollins said, Drew, you ain't got to be a prick about it. What makes you think it'll be me and you? Because the last two times we faced, you lost. Drew then said, you know, if you want to talk about losses, didn't you lose to him 3 times? Drew then went on a tirade about how nobody wants to fight Roman because it's the same match, the same ending every time. And Rollins, you have done a great job, but it's time for someone else to do a better job. It's time for Drew McIntyre to take it from here. So Drew with a cheap shot on Rollins. Cody then took out Drew. We still didn't get any answers. Again, why would we? Now, as far as Drew McIntyre goes, Drew McIntyre, let me tell you something. Drew McIntyre is making a really, really strong case as to why he should win the World Championship at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre is making it a very, very, very strong case as to why he should be the guy that beats Rollins. Although, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's going to happen. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really want it to happen. Listen, I want Drew McIntyre to get what he deserves, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like there's nowhere left for him to go in WWE. After he wins the world title, he has a great world title reign. What does he do next? There's really nothing left for Drew to do. Even though Drew McIntyre has been one of the most intriguing parts of Raw, I'm kind of over Drew McIntyre in WWE, and a lot of other people are too. Drew McIntyre, there's a really, really, really big part of me that really wishes Drew McIntyre would leave. Even though, with the fact that he's been showcased so much, something tells me that he's not going to leave. But I really do hope that Drew McIntyre goes. I hope that Drew McIntyre leaves and Drew McIntyre shows up at Wembley. If Drew shows up at Wembley, I mean, oh my God, that is going to be a career resurgence moment for Drew McIntyre. Regardless of whether or not he may be the best individual on Raw right now, Drew McIntyre in the WWE, it's just kind of run its course. Same thing with Rollins. I want Rollins out of there. After Rollins loses the world title, there's nowhere left for Rollins to go. So from there, Cody Rhodes goes to the main event to fight in a bull rope match against Shinsuke Nakamura. DIY, they took on Imperium, the Creed Brothers, and the New Day. It was a fatal four-way tag team qualifier match, and the winner of this match would advance to SmackDown, and the winner of that match will advance to Elimination Chamber to see who fights the Judgment Day. So this was an excellent match. Excellent match. Everyone was getting all their shit in. Assisted Shiranuis and suicide dives and cannonballs and Brutus balls and moonsaults, belly to bellies. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." The tag team division has been revitalized, and I love it. The tag team division has been revitalized in WWE, and I'm extremely happy that they are continuing, and I mean really continuing, to push tag team wrestling as a priority. We've had some great tag team matches on WWE TV in recent weeks. DIY ended up getting the win. I had absolutely no problem with this because we got DIY versus British Strong Style on SmackDown, and we got a damn good match on SmackDown as well, which we will talk about when we get to the SmackDown review. I appreciated WWE TV a lot this week. SmackDown was actually a great show. I appreciated WWE a lot because we got a lot of Elimination Chamber build. And similar to last year's Elimination Chamber, this is where I will be positive. Similar to last year's Elimination Chamber, they're really building up this year's Elimination Chamber as the unofficial Night 3 of WrestleMania. They did it last year, and they're going to do it this year too. And I like that. I like that a lot. The Elimination Chamber right now, Elimination Chamber is quickly becoming one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. But more so than the Rumble. Because whatever Triple H has done with the Rumble the last 2 years, Triple H does not know how to book a fucking Royal Rumble. Triple H is terrible at that shit. That is his Achilles heel. Triple H's Achilles heel is the Rumble. But the Chamber, oh my God, the Chamber has been revitalized. I am loving what Triple H has been doing with the Chamber. So, Becky Lynch, she took on Shayna Baszler in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Crowd did not give Baszler and Becky the reaction that they needed. They didn't. I'm not sure what the fuck was going on, but there was absolutely no heat behind this match. The match wasn't necessarily bad. But, I mean, WWE has not done Shayna Baszler any favors. I genuinely feel bad for Shayna Baszler. I really do. Shayna Baszler has been just completely castrated. Shayna Baszler has been completely castrated to a point where she has absolutely no momentum behind her. Even if WWE were to rebuild her up and give her some wins, Shayna Baszler has absolutely nothing going for her. People all expected Becky Lynch to win. It just felt lifeless. And that's sad. That is extremely sad. And what's even more sad, I don't even think WWE can rebuild Shayna Baszler back up. I honestly think Shayna Baszler she's dead. Shayna Baszler is completely fucking dead. And I hate that. Becky wins. Crowd was dead. I'm glad that we're getting qualifying matches, but crowd didn't give a shit. Rhea Ripley came out to the ring. And she took the mic. She acknowledged Becky's win, but she wanted to talk about Nia Jax. She said that she wanted Nia out here so she could rip her bloody head off. Adam Pearce then came out, tried to regain some order. Pearce said, I'll tell you what, I will give you Nia Jax. I will give you Nia Jax at Elimination Chamber with the title on the line. So Nia then came out. We get a brawl. We get a legit brawl as Adam Pearce called for some security. Nia then flattened everyone in the corner, and Nia delivered the Annihilator on Rhea Ripley, and that was it. And the match was confirmed for the Chamber. Again, I find myself saying it again. And I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I dislike it, but when it comes to this show, you know how I am. I speak objectively, not subjectively. Nia Jax has been booked very well. I know it may seem a little out of the ordinary for me, but I can't sit here and say that Nia Jax is a detriment to television. She's not. She's not a detriment to television. We haven't been getting her in constant matches. She's been winning. She's been looking strong. She's been having some solid matches here and there. She's been looking like a dominant monster. She's not trying to be a diva. She's acting like a monster. She's going out there and she's beating the shit out of people. I can't sit here and say that I hate that. Nia Jax, as we speak right now, has been one of the better booked acts on Raw. Matter of fact, Nia Jax looks better than Shayna Baszler does. And I don't even believe those words just came out of my mouth. But I can't sit here and say that Nia Jax has been making television bad. She hasn't. We're getting her in small doses. She's not been overexposed. So much so, in a weird way, there's a part of me that's actually looking forward to this match. Again, I don't even believe those words just came out of my mouth. There's a part of me that's actually looking forward to this match. I'll tell you what I'm not looking forward to seeing. I am not looking forward to seeing Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree in mixed tag team action anymore. They took on Ivar and Valhalla. This was absolutely fucking terrible. And I swear to God, if this match proved something, it proved that the WWE Performance Center is a fucking sham. Maxine Dupree fucking botching roll-ups. She botched the handspring back elbow. Valhalla's no better. Don't even get me started. This was absolutely fucking terrible. Get Maxine out of the ring. Get Maxine Dupree out of the ring. She is not good for anything when it comes to being a bell-to-bell wrestler. She is a manager and a manager only. What a terrible match. Miz, he took on JD McDonough. Again, another rematch. How many rematches are we going to get? We got Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. They're still feuding with the Viking Raiders. We get the Miz and JD McDonough again. We get Katana Chance and Caden Carter versus Asuka and Kairi Sane again. We get Shinsuke Nakamura and Cody Rhodes again. Too many rematches. We need less rematches. Less rematches and more fresh talent on the show. This is why I said that the brand split should not be a thing. If you want to have certain feuds on certain shows, go ahead. But when it comes down to it all, you should not be having the same matches on weekly TV for X amount of weeks in a row. You want to know why AEW is more preferable than WWE right now? One of the main reasons is because they do not do the same matches for weeks on end. How many fucking times do we need to see Miz and JD McDonough? And R-Truth came out. He tried to give JD McDonough his cut. JD McDonough took the money, and then he got a skull-crushing finale, and the money went flying. It's getting ridiculous at this rate. I'm sick of it. I'm done. I am done with this R-Truth Judgment Day bullshit. Get R-Truth away from the Judgment Day. We need to get R-Truth away from the Judgment Day, and we need to put R-Truth in a scenario where he is nowhere near the top of the card. Not in this form. We need to get Damian Priest built up and get him in position to cash in his Money in the Bank contract at WrestleMania, and Damian Priest walks out the World Heavyweight Champion. He does the same shit that Seth Rollins did back at WrestleMania 31, and it's a full circle moment for Seth Rollins. You live by the cash-in, you die by the cash-in. I don't understand why that's so hard. Why? Gunther. This was actually one of the best things on the show. As a matter of fact, Gunther is the best thing on the show. Gunther is the best thing about Monday Night Raw. Gunther, he had his 600th day celebration as Intercontinental Champion. He relished in his handiwork. He says that he doesn't want this going forward because it's already a given anyway. 600 days, 700 days, 1,000 days. The Ring General, will be the greatest and longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. There is no man worthy of challenging me for this great championship. All of a sudden, out came Jey Uso. Crowd doing the shit. Pat McAfee up on the table doing this. Jey then said, main event Jey Uso is now in your city. Gunther said, I expected everyone to like that because it's a very simple gesture for a very simple audience. I expected you wanted to have a word with me, but this is not the way. Jey Uso said, no disrespect, Us. I see the work you put in. Gunther then said, you know what? You're an accomplished man yourself. You are one half of the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. You had some of the greatest matches in tag team wrestling history. And you did it all with only having to do 50% of the work. But I did all this work myself. Jey Uso then hyped himself up and said, if you want Jey Uso to be the new Intercontinental Champion, let me hear you say, yeet. So the crowd went, yeet. Gunther then said, if you want this, be my guest, but let me tell you something. I'm going to beat you worse than your family ever did. And I'll make you, this was great, by the way. Gunther goes, I'm going to make you wish you were back in the good old days where nobody could tell you and your brother apart. And then he went, oos. And then we get a brawl. The New Day came out. Imperium then retreated. And that was it. I thought this was fantastic. This was absolutely fantastic in every sense of the word. And Jey Uso, that is going to be a very, very, very nice appetizer for Gunther before he gets to WrestleMania. I see that this match is probably going to take place, probably I would say on the Monday Night Raw before Elimination Chamber, because Gunther has some visa issues. Gunther can't travel outside the U.S. He's got visa issues. So if Gunther can't travel outside the U.S. because he's got visa issues, this match more likely than not will take place on a Monday Night Raw. And after it takes place on a Monday Night Raw, this match almost seems as though it's a setup. It's a setup for two things. Number one, Jimmy Uso is going to show up and cost Jey Uso, and we get Jimmy and Jey at WrestleMania 40. And then it could very well lead to either Chad Gable making a comeback, and Chad Gable gets a shot at Gunther, or maybe we see Sheamus migrate over to Raw. Maybe we see Sheamus go over to Monday Night Raw, and Sheamus becomes the new Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. Maybe Sheamus finally slays the dragon. Maybe. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a possibility. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, they took on Asuka and Kairi Sane for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I could not give a single shit, which is sad because I absolutely adore Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Crowd couldn't give a shit. Crowd was as cold could be. And it's really, really, really weird. The WWE Women's Tag Team division is very hot and cold. 1 minute they have a good match. The next minute they have a lackluster match. 1 minute people care. The next minute they don't care. I would just get rid of the tag team titles at this rate. It's really meaningless. The titles don't mean shit. Cody Rhodes, Shinsuke Nakamura, bull rope match. Again, rematch. Cody Rhodes and Nakamura never had bad matches, but there was no substance. The biggest amount of substance we got was when Drew McIntyre attacked Cody Rhodes after the match, hit him with a Claymore, and he stood tall. Nakamura is virtually dead right now. No one gives a fuck about Nakamura, and that's sad. Again, not necessarily a god-awful show, but we went into the show wanting answers for one thing and one thing only. We didn't get it, and we had to wait for the press conference to get the answers, and even then, we still didn't get an answer as to why Cody Rhodes even called upon The Rock to begin with. So at the end of the day, Monday Night Raw, it was a very skippable show. Monday Night Raw has been very hot and cold in recent weeks. Moving on here, let's move on to AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite was the best show of the week. Dynamite, absolutely fantastic show from top to bottom, and we are setting the stage for Revolution. Revolution looks like a banger of a fucking show. I cannot wait for it. We kick off the show with Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page, part number 3. It was a number 1 contenders match to see who would go to Revolution to fight Samoa Joe. And my God, did these two fucking deliver. And I mean, these two fucking delivered. Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, I'm telling you, this may very well be one of the best feuds in the short history of AEW that they've ever done. This is absolutely Hangman's best rivalry since he was feuding with Kenny Omega and the Elite for the world title. It may very well be Hangman's best rivalry ever. It may very well be Hangman's best rivalry ever. Everything about the rivalry is just picture perfect. And what I loved about this the most is what happened in the end. And if you listened closely, if you looked closely, you would know the next chapter that this story is going to write. So, crowd was chanting AEW. Crowd was hot for Swerve, as expected, because they were on the West Coast. Page is from the East Coast. So, Page with a Liger bomb for a 2. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Swerve actually delivered a buckshot lariat of his own. Page sold the shit out of it. Swerve then with the Swerve stomp, 1-2. Page kicked out. The crowd was chanting, "Fight forever." Adam Page then DDT'd Swerve on the barricade to a holy shit chant. Coming back from commercial, we had Hangman in a tree of woe. Swerve stomp on the apron. Swerve had Page put on a table, but the table collapsed. Swerve then went to get another table, and he set it up on the outside. Back in the ring, Swerve with a 450 splash. Knees were up. Swerve kicked out. 5-minute warning was given. Rebound lariat by Adam Page. Buckshot lariat. 1-2. Swerve got his foot on the rope. Page then with a deadeye on the apron. The ref counted all the way up to 9. Swerve just got back into the ring. Page then hit Nana with the chair. And then Swerve took over. Swerve stomped, but he buckled his ankle. Page then snapped at the ankle. He took Swerve out to the apron. Swerve reversed Adam Page, and Swerve delivered a deadeye to Adam Page off of the apron through the table, which looked awesome. Back in the ring. Swerve missed the Swerve stomp. Page missed the buckshot lariat. Swerve with the JML driver, but he could not get into the cover in time. 1, 2, and the time limit ran out, and the bell rang. I'm going to throw it out here for you, and I think that everyone will agree with me right here. this was an early match of the year candidate. Even though we're 5 weeks into the new year, even though we're only 5 weeks, 6 weeks into the new year, this was a match of the year candidate. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic in every sense of the imagination. Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page, they are tethered together forever. They are tethered together forever, and this feud will go on for the rest of their time in AEW. So, Swerve, he took the mic and he said, nah. You ain't getting away, Hangman. You know how this goes. 5 more minutes. So Page took the mic. He was laughing. He goes, Swerve, you had to beat me, and you didn't do it. You will not be the World Heavyweight Champion. For you, it is over. Tony Schiavone then took the mic and he said, hold on. Tony Khan said this is not done because we now have 2 number 1 contenders. There will be a 3-way at Revolution. And Page, if you noticed, Page, he was acting very heelish. He would not give Swerve what he wanted. He was actually yelling on the apron. He was saying, no, he didn't beat me. He didn't beat me. And you know why this is tremendous? Because now we are going to witness the next chapter in the story of Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. This feud is far from over, and this feud deserves a cherry on top of the cake send-off for the time being. How do you do it? It's quite simple. We already knew that the triple threat match was all but a given. Now, what happens? What happens at Revolution? Samoa Joe is great. Samoa Joe is fantastic, and Samoa Joe, he deserves a lot more than just being a transitional champion. That's very obvious. That is extremely obvious. Samoa Joe deserves a lot more than just being a transitional champion. However, Samoa Joe, unfortunately, he's going to be a transitional champion. However, if Samoa Joe needs to lose, the championship, then the answer is quite simple. Hangman Adam Page is now going through a change, as is Swerve. And I'm going to call on Wednesday, we witnessed a double turn. The crowd are now starting to gravitate more towards Swerve Strickland. No one wants to boo Swerve Strickland anymore. Swerve Strickland is just so good that the crowd want to get behind him. Now, the next chapter is Hangman Adam Page losing his mind. Hangman Adam Page is going to lose his sanity because he's becoming obsessed with the fact that he cannot beat Swerve Strickland. He does not want Swerve Strickland to become the world champion. He has become so obsessed that he will literally go to the ends of the earth to make sure that Swerve will never, ever be the world heavyweight champion. The answer is quite simple here. Hangman Adam Page wins the world championship at Revolution by pinning Samoa Joe. Hangman Page pins Samoa Joe. Hangman Adam Page is now the world champion. He still didn't beat Swerve. He pinned Joe. He didn't pin Swerve. So now, with Hangman as the world champion, Hangman is going to go through this insane phase where he's obsessed with making sure the world title never gets on Swerve. And now that he's the world champion, Swerve will never be the world champion. But it all culminates on August 25th at Wembley Stadium at All In. Swerve, Hangman, one-on-one for the World Championship. Part number 4, Swerve Strickland wins the World Heavyweight Championship at Wembley Stadium. What do you want to do? What is the best route to go? It's quite simple. Do you want to crown Swerve Strickland in front of 16,000 people? Or do you want to crown Swerve Strickland in front of 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 people? If you want to make a new star, you crown Swerve Strickland the world champion at Wembley. And you know why? Because there is no other match. There is no other match. There is no better story. There are no better two men to main event Wembley Stadium in August this year other than Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. Ospreay, more likely than not, will get Omega. Ospreay doesn't need to win the world championship now. Bryan's not going to fight for it. Moxley doesn't need to fight for it. It's not going to be Cassidy. It's not going to be Miro. It's not going to be Malachi Black. It's not going to be Darby. It's not going to be Sammy. It's not going to be Copeland. It's not going to be Christian Cage. The mega match at Wembley, it's Hangman and Swerve. Hangman as the champion. He wins the title at Revolution. He has a couple of title defenses here and there. He goes into Wembley. Page goes into Wembley, fights Swerve. Swerve, now being a hot babyface, Swerve wins the world championship at Wembley Stadium. It's quite simple. If Swerve wins the title at Revolution, listen, I'll be happy. Swerve wins the title at Revolution, I'll be happy. But him winning it at Wembley would be much better overall because that is the best main event that they could do at Wembley. Hangman and Swerve have proven that their matches could have easily main evented any one of the shows that they were on. You could have main evented Dynamite with this match. You could have main evented Full Gear with this match. Hell, you could have main evented Wrestle Dream with this match if you wanted to. Toni Storm, she took on Red Velvet. This was a women's title eliminator match. Toni Storm, she was doing a little bit more wrestling here. And if you notice, Toni Storm, she won the match with an ankle lock. And she was staring right at Deonna Purrazzo when she was doing it. So if my calculations are correct, I have a feeling that Deonna Purrazzo, she's going to bring out the old Toni Storm. Deonna Purrazzo is going to bring out the classic Toni Storm. She's going to bring out the pro wrestler Toni Storm. Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo, they're kind of in a game of one-upsmanship. They're in a game of one-upsmanship going into their match. And I feel like these two are going to put on a Matt Classic. These two are absolutely going to put on a Matt Classic. We had the superstars of CMLL. This is Volador Jr., Mascara Dorado, and Hechicero. They took on the Blackpool Combat Club. This was a pay-per-view worthy six-man tag team match. This was great from start to finish, and this is exactly why AEW should be looked at as the alternative. AEW is looked at as the alternative because AEW is the professional wrestling company. And the best part about AEW is the fact that AEW gives new faces opportunities. It's not the same people on the show every week. Hechicero and Bryan Danielson, they started off the match. Dorada and Claudio, they came in and mixed it up a little bit. Claudio was using his power. He delivered a nice Hurricane Rana on Dorada. We had a tag to Volador and a tag to Moxley. They came in and they traded strikes back and forth. Hechicero and Dorado with the boots to Moxley. They put the boots to Moxley. Coming back from commercial, Claudio with the giant swing on Volador. We had a huge springboard head scissor on Claudio. Double topes by Hechicero and Volador. Shooting star press off the middle rope. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome." Hammerlock backbreaker on Bryan by Hechicero. 450 splash by Dorada for a 2 count. Code Red on Claudio. Moxley saved it. Backstabber by Volador on Moxley. Busaiko knee by Bryan. Diving crossbody by Hechicero. Everyone was getting their shit in. Claudio and Hechicero, very nice back and forth. Double lariat by Moxley and Dorada. And he took out Dorada and Volador. Big punch by Hechicero. Guillotine, Hurricane Rana. Leg drop on Claudio by Hechicero for a 2 count. The ref was then smushed into the corner. Hechicero was out. Hechicero then was caught with a low blow, and Claudio pinned Hechicero off the low blow with a roll-up, and the Blackpool Combat Club get the victory here on Dynamite as we head into another CMLL Blackpool Combat Club match tonight on Collision. I'm not really sure where it's going, but man, are we getting some great wrestling out of this CMLL feud. And I'm talking about everyone. We're getting some really good wrestling out of everyone with this CMLL feud. Really, really, really good stuff, and I'm liking it. We had the Undisputed Kingdom in the back. They attacked Chuck Taylor. So it looks like the Undisputed Kingdom is now causing some more chaos. I like that. The more chaos, the better. Tony Khan, he had a big announcement. He announced that Dynamite is returning to the TD Garden, and the show will be called AEW Big Business. He said that it will be one of the most important nights in AEW history. Now, here's a question. We already know that Mercedes Moné is showing up. There's no reason why Mercedes Moné would not be showing up. But the question is, do we see potentially Kazuchika Okada show up as well? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. We could very well see Okada. Maybe we see Ospreay too. Maybe we see Mercedes and Ospreay. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. And AEW, they've really got themselves on a nice hot streak. They've got themselves on a really, really, really nice hot streak. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else they pull forth in the year 2024. So let's keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling, the better. Chris Jericho and Konosuke Takeshita. Another very, very, very good match. And if there's one thing that Chris Jericho knows how to do, and this is something that everyone needs to acknowledge, Chris Jericho, he knows how to get other talent over. Chris Jericho knows what is best when it comes to getting new talent over. And that's exactly what we got here. Chris Jericho, he took on Konosuke Takeshita. He made Takeshita look like an absolute beast. He was not afraid to take the high spots. He was not afraid to take the high bumps. He was taking cradle tombstones. He was taking German suplexes on his neck. He was taking avalanche blue thunder bombs. Everything about Chris Jericho and Takeshita was fantastic. And Jericho did the right thing. And not only did he do the right thing, he tapped out to his own move. And Konosuke Takeshita stands tall over Chris Jericho. As far as Takeshita goes, two singles matches this year against Jericho and Darby Allin, two bangers. Takeshita is slowly but surely becoming a 2024 workhorse. And I want to see more of that. The more we get from Takeshita, the better. And I really, really hope that they put Takeshita in the TNT title picture. When Adam Copeland, who I believe is going to win the TNT title, when Copeland wins the TNT title, we need to get ourselves an Adam Copeland versus Konosuke Takeshita match at Wembley. Now that would be one hell of a match. And you crown Takeshita at Wembley, and you have Takeshita beat Copeland. That would be a damn good match, and that would be a damn good coronation for Takeshita as one of the next big things. Sting and Darby Allin, they took on Ricky Starks and Big Bill. This was a tornado tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. So the fight spilled into the crowd pretty early. Sting, of course, like a fucking maniac, dove off of a mezzanine in Phoenix. Absolutely insane. And he got back up like it was nothing. And he turned out just fine. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable how Sting constantly does this shit as if nothing even happened to him. As if he never even had a neck injury. As if he never even had to retire. It's unreal. So Sting dove off the top of a mezzanine into Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Absolutely insane. Coming back from commercial, Sting with a splash on Big Bill. Big Bill then drops Sting on the floor. Darby with a suicide dive. This was probably one of my favorite spots of the year right here. One of the best spots of the year. Darby Allin with a tope suicida. Big Bill caught him in one of the most beautiful boss man slams I have ever seen. Matter of fact, this outdid the deep six spot by Baron Corbin when he did a deep six on Ricochet all those years ago at Money in the Bank. Absolutely fantastic spot. Boss man slam looked like Darby Allin was fucking broken in half. So after the boss man slam, Darby looked like he was out completely. We then had a table being set up. A table was set up, and Big Bill was looking to put Sting through the table. So Big Bill looking to put Sting through the table, and he ended up getting crotched. On the top rope, did Big Bill. Darby then came back, and Darby and Big Bill both went sailing through the table. Ricky Starks then bounced Sting headfirst off of the exposed turnbuckle. Starks hit the spear, covered Sting. 1, 2, Sting kicked out. That was a very nice near fall. We then had Sting going for a Scorpion Death Drop, and Sting got the Scorpion Death Drop. Sting pins Ricky Starks 1, 2, 3, and Sting and Darby Allin are the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I would say that this was probably Sting's best match in AEW in a long time. The last time I could say that, man, that was a great Sting and Darby match. I think the last time I could say that it was a great match between Sting, Darby, and their opponents was probably in June. When we had Sting and Darby taking on Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho in that Tornado Tag Team match where Sting dove off the ladder, which looked fantastic. That was the last time that Sting and Darby actually had a great match. And Ricky Starks and Big Bill, it goes to show you just how good they are. However, this was the wrong outcome. Listen, I love Sting. We all love Sting. He's one of the greatest of all time. We all know that Sting's run in AEW has been fantastic. We've gotten some great shit out of Sting and Darby in AEW, but this was not needed. I shit on it with The Rock, and I'm going to shit on it here. Why does Sting and Darby need to be tag team champions when ultimately they're not going to be champions for more than a month? It's not necessary. It really isn't. Now, granted, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to make the match with the Young Bucks a little bit more, what's the word that I'm looking for? A little bit more impactful. They're trying to make the match a little bit more impactful. They're trying to make the match a little bit more important. I get it. But you could have done that without the tag team titles. Now, I'm not saying this because Big Bill and Ricky Starks are the best champions that we've ever seen, but you could have easily had given the tag team titles to another team. Private Party, Top Flight, anybody. It didn't need to be Sting and Darby because all this did was kind of make the match at Revolution a bit more predictable because there's no doubt that the Young Bucks need to win now. You're not going to have Sting and Darby win and then Sting and Darby relinquish the tag team titles. That's fucking awful. There should be no such thing as title vacancy unless someone is injured and cannot compete. There should be no such thing as title relinquishment. That shit devalues the individual and the championship that they're relinquishing. So the Young Bucks are going to have to win. Meanwhile, if Sting and Darby were on the verge of winning the tag team titles and the Young Bucks cost them the tag team titles, then that would have been a much better plan because then Sting and Darby would have had a reason to go after the Young Bucks. Now, granted, after what happened here, which was great, we had Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. They attacked Sting and Darby, and they also attacked Sting's sons. Darby was busted open. They hit the BTE trigger, or what they're calling the EVP trigger, on Darby, and their white suits were stained with Darby's blood. That was fantastic. That was awesome. That, I will say, was excellent. Absolutely fantastic. But even if Sting and Darby were given a reason to go after the Young Bucks now, it would have been much better if the Young Bucks cost Sting and Darby, because then Sting and Darby would have still had a reason to go and seek revenge on the Bucks. Because originally, the Bucks had a reason to go fight Sting and Darby, but Sting and Darby had no reason to go after the Bucks. The Bucks were going after Sting and Darby because they want to get rid of the past. They want to get rid of Sting because he represents the old guard. But if Sting and Darby were cost by the Young Bucks, and Sting and Darby didn't win the tag team titles because of Nicholas and Matthew Jackson and their interference, then Sting and Darby would say, these motherfuckers cost us a shot at the tag team titles. So you know what? We're going to come after you and we're going to beat the shit out of you at Revolution. And then you could have given Sting a hurrah into the sunset. But now, with Sting and Darby as the tag team champions, there's no doubt that the Young Bucks have to win. Whether you like it or not, the Young Bucks winning is the best decision because you cannot vacate the championships. You can't. Other than that outcome, which was the wrong outcome, the show was probably one of the best Dynamites ever. Excellent, 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 excellent show. And Revolution is looking like a banger. Revolution is looking like a banger, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. SmackDown. SmackDown was probably the second best show of the week. SmackDown, very, very, very solid show overall. We got a lot of great wrestling on the show. We got a lot of Elimination Chamber build. Can't really sit here and complain about SmackDown. SmackDown, it did its job. SmackDown did its job. So, Triple H, he kicked off the show with Adam Pearce, and Nick Aldis. So Triple H pretty much addressed himself as the authority, took a couple shots at The Rock, saying that it doesn't matter if you don't like this decision, because in the end, it will be Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Then we had Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. They stated that we will organize a series of matches, a series of qualifying matches to see who goes to the Chamber, and the winner of the Chamber will fight the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And they went over the list of participants. There were some participants from Raw and some participants from SmackDown. And the only reason that they gave is because they want to make the two general managers, they want to make the WWE seem like a united front. It's still stupid because you're going against the brand split rules, motherfuckers. Just saying. So the participants were as follows: Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Ivar, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, Dominic Mysterio, and LA Knight. So we were going to get the qualifying matches starting tonight. And the qualifying matches started with Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles. LA Knight actually came out on commentary, and it looks like that LA Knight is going to be in the crosshairs of AJ Styles going into WrestleMania. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be involved in a singles match against each other, but LA Knight should be taking the United States title off of Logan Paul. LA Knight should be taking the United States title off of Logan Paul, plain and simple. Now, I don't know what's going to happen at WrestleMania, but if you want to still have Styles and Knight feuding, just put Styles and Knight in a triple threat match with Logan Paul for the U.S. title. That's simple right there. That would be a big match. That would be a WrestleMania-worthy match, and you can still give LA Knight the win and the championship. So we get this match with Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles. Solid match. It was a solid match, and it did what it needed to do. Drew McIntyre gets the win over AJ Styles. Drew McIntyre absolutely Drew McIntyre absolutely is winning the Chamber. Drew McIntyre, as we speak, he is the best possible candidate to go and fight Seth Rollins because ultimately, Drew McIntyre has the most intriguing character and it's a perfect setup for Damian Priest to come on in and cash in. As we speak right now, Damian Priest cashing in on Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. That right there is the best possible scenario. It tells the best story, and you have a full circle moment with Seth Rollins. And Drew McIntyre can continue to play up to his frustrations. But Drew McIntyre, he is the guy. Drew McIntyre is the guy, plain and simple. We then go into a women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. A women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, and it is Bianca Belair and Michin. It was a quick match. It was a quick match, but it was a decent enough match to get by. Both women, they were trading strikes. Michin mounted a comeback, but she missed a cannonball. We had a backbreaker and a spinebuster by Belair. Michin with a superplex. She went for eat defeat, but Bianca fell out of the ring. Back in the ring, Bianca covered. Bianca delivered the KOD, and Bianca Belair wins, and she goes to the Chamber. We now have Becky. We now have Bianca. We're probably going to get Liv as well. You see, this is one of the things that I hate about there being a brand split and they don't abide by the rules. They don't abide by the rules. And I understand if you want to have star power. If you want to have star power, then just end the brand split. If you want to have star power in the match, end the brand split where anyone can appear anywhere. That makes shit a hell of a lot easier to digest rather than asking the question, well, why exactly do we have two SmackDown superstars fighting to enter a chamber that is going to determine a match for a Monday Night Raw championship? That's what I don't understand. That's what really gets under my skin. Regardless, it was a decent match. Bianca wins. Paul Heyman was in the back. He was talking to Triple H, and he said that next week, Triple H, he will be there next week with Roman Reigns and The Rock. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to get to WrestleMania so that way we can get the title off of Roman. Bayley had a moment to speak. Bayley was talking about what she wanted to say. She said that the people stuck with her and they know the heart that she has for this. The crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." She said that Damage Control took from her. She then won the Rumble and yet they laughed. She thought that things would change. But every single time that I walked into a room, they just stopped talking. Dakota Kai then came out, and she said that she didn't know what was going on. Bayley then said, Dakota, you knew what was going on. You knew what was going on, and you hid it from me. Kai said that she always believed in Bayley, and Io did too, until Kairi and Asuka showed up. Kai then said that she didn't know how to tell Bayley, because we were like sisters. We've always been like sisters. You have always been like a mentor to me. And I didn't tell you, said Kai, because it seemed like your plan was working. I didn't know how to tell you, and I thought that it would blow over, but it didn't. Bayley then said, well, then we're here now, so where do you stand? Before Dakota Kai could even answer, Io, Asuka, and Kairi came out, and Kai took in a chair, and she ran off Asuka, Io, and Kairi with the chair. She then dropped the chair as Bayley and her had a standoff. I honestly believe that Dakota Kai is going to be one of the most intriguing aspects about the Bayley-Io Sky build going into WrestleMania. Does Dakota Kai turn? I don't know. I mean, she teased it. We could see it. But I very much appreciate the whole vibe with Dakota Kai. I think that this is a great usage for her. It's a great usage for her because even though she's not competing, it gives her something to do. It gives her something to do, and it adds an extra layer to the build between Io and Bayley. And I like that. British Strong Style versus DIY. This was a number one contenders match to see who would go on to fight none other than the Judgment Day for the Tag Team Championships. This was very good. Very, very, very good stuff, and the right team won. We had some really, really, really good back-and-forth counters, discus lariats and reverse DDTs, bop and bangs and Project Ciampas. We had Dunn making the tag. Bate ended up taking out Tommaso Ciampa with a big plancha over the top, and then we had a bitter end by Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne with the bitter end on Johnny Gargano, and British Strong Style gets the win in what was a very good tag team match. British Strong Style is going to Elimination Chamber to fight the Judgment Day. This match between British Strong Style and the Judgment Day, that's worth the price of admission alone. That match is worth the price of admission alone, and I can't wait for it. DIY is going to get their moment. Trust me when I tell you, DIY will get their moment. DIY is going to get their moment at WrestleMania. The Miz versus Logan Paul Elimination Chamber qualifying match is set for next week. LA Knight versus Ivar on Raw set for next week. Bronson Reed, Bobby Lashley on Raw set for next week. And Kevin Owens versus Dominic Mysterio on SmackDown is set for next week. As far as the two women's qualifier matches, we got Shotzi and Tiffany Stratton. That will take place next week. And Zelina Vega and Naomi will also take place next week. Both will take place on SmackDown. And then in the main event, we had Sami Zayn and Randy Orton. This was a very good match for the 12 minutes that it was, and it ended up with Randy Orton getting the victory over Sami Zayn with an RKO. Not really sure where Sami Zayn fits into WrestleMania, but it's kind of disappointing that he is not going to be in the Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton gets the win. It seems as though Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, they could very well come down to the final two. But either way, they are really stacking this chamber. By the looks of it, we could have Logan Paul in there. Kevin Owens is going to be in there. Bronson Reed's going to be in there. And LA Knight is going to be in there. I don't know about you, but I would say that is one hell, and I mean one hell, of a elimination chamber. It could very well be one of the best chambers of all time. The match that they did last year, the elimination chamber match last year that we had with Gargano, Priest, Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Montez Ford, and who was the other guy? It was Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, Damian Priest, Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed. Those six guys last year gave us one of the best chamber matches of all time with the U.S. title on the line. So if we got an elimination chamber that was that good last year, imagine what we're going to get this year with the bigger stars. I'm looking forward to it. SmackDown, very good show. Very, very, very good show. Rampage was also a pretty solid show. We got a lot of really good wrestling on Rampage, I must say. A lot of really good wrestling on Rampage, and we got a couple of storylines being progressed. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson were on the show. They cut a promo. Ruby Soho has officially broken away from Saraya, which I have zero issue with. So we got AEW Rampage kicked off with Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero versus the Undisputed Kingdom. This being Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven. This was a very good match for what it was. This went about 13 minutes, and we got a lot of really, really, really nice action here between these six guys. Listen to me. I understand that the Undisputed Kingdom is not where they need to be, and it's not their fault. The Undisputed Kingdom is not where they need to be simply because of the fact that MJF is hurt. They needed a strong babyface. They needed a legit, big-time babyface to bounce their heel magnitude off of. We don't have that. We don't have that because MJF is out. MJF was that babyface. Now that we don't have it, the Undisputed Kingdom, they're kind of forced to wait in limbo almost. They're forced to wait in limbo until MJF comes back, which sucks. It really does suck. Regardless of that, no one can say that they're not being booked correctly. No one can say that. Because the Undisputed Kingdom, they have been booked very, very well. They just don't have a babyface to be the yin to their yang. They don't. But as far as their booking goes, they've been booked very well. You can't tell me that they haven't. They've been going out there. They have been winning matches. Not only that, they're winning matches clean. You have not seen one interference. How many matches have they had? You have Wardlow in action on Dynamite. You have Roderick Strong in action on Rampage. You got the Kingdom in action on Rampage and Collision. And there have been no interferences. No interferences. None whatsoever. The Undisputed Kingdom is winning clean. That's how you build credibility. You had Adam Cole and Wardlow out there at ringside. They did not move from their spots once. And the Undisputed Kingdom won clean. That I can appreciate. So you can't tell me that they haven't been booked well. Undisputed Kingdom have been booked exactly how they needed to be booked. They just don't feel as important because they do not have MJF there. It's plain and simple. Strong then delivered an end of heartache on the steel chairs to Rocky Romero after the match. Strong is absolutely your next international champion. He's got to be. There's no better individual right now. Roderick Strong wins the international championship, and you add more gold to the Undisputed Kingdom. Plain and simple. We had Matthew and Nicholas Jackson versus Mondo Rocks and Robbie Litt. New theme music. They had a piano, arena rock style music. And they came out, this was great. They came out in the same blood-stained suits that they had on Wednesday. I thought that was brilliant. And you know what I loved about this even more so? They wrestled in the suits. They won the match clean. They then took the microphone. And Nicholas Jackson had the mic. He said, "We are tired of the disrespect from fans." It's almost as if he was speaking in a Vince McMahon voice. And he goes, "Show your EVPs a little more respect and call us by our God-given names of Nicholas and Matthew Jackson." So Matthew then took the microphone and he said, "I apologize. My brother is a bit of a hothead. Congratulations to new AEW World Tag Team Champions Darby Allin and Sting. You guys crushed it, but there was a bit of a caveat. You see, Doc Samson said that Darby and Sting, they were a bit banged up. But don't worry, guys. We're praying for you and we hope that you're okay. However, our goal, our objective is to get our tag team titles back, but we are not going to use our EVP status to do that. No, we're going to play by the rules. We're going to win matches and we are going to get ranked. We're going to get ranked just like we did tonight on Rampage, and we will climb the rankings on Wednesday in tag team action. Thank you very much. Please stick around for the rest of the show. My God, I love being your freaking EVP. You know what I loved about this? It's the fact that the Young Bucks, everything that they did here, the music, the mannerisms, the promo, just the complete lack of sincerity. The fact that they just come off like insecure pricks, just complete insincere assholes. It's just so great. And you know what's the greatest part about this? The greatest part about this all is the more that they act like this, the more that they just harp on this shit with the fucking shitty ass suits and the terrible facial hair and the call us Nicholas and Matthew Jackson and the piano theme music. The more that they do this, it is going to make the people want to see them get the ever-living shit beat out of them. And that is when you have the best type of heat. You have the best type of heat when people legitimately want to see you get the shit beat out of you. And that's exactly what the Young Bucks are going to have. It's brilliant. It is great. I love it. I absolutely love it. Mystico, he took on Matt Sydal. This was a solid match. This went about 10 minutes. Matt Sydal is a very underrated performer. Mystico, the last couple times I've seen Mystico has really been showcasing a lot of good performances on AEW TV. So if Mystico wants to keep this up, I'd like to see Mystico mix it up with some of the bigger stars. Let's get him in there with maybe a Bryan Danielson. Maybe get him in there with a Claudio. Maybe a Moxley. Maybe a Hangman. Maybe a Swerve. I wouldn't mind that either. Maybe a Samoa Joe. I like to see more of Mystico. I think Mystico's great. So Mystico came in with a flying crossbody for a 2. Sydal with an air raid crash. Super kick by Mystico. He went up for a moonsault, but he did not get it because Sydal got the boots up. We had a power slam by Mystico. Sydal and Mystico then met up top, and Mystico delivered a step-up Spanish fly, and Mystico gets the victory over Matt Sydal heading into the matchup with Jon Moxley tomorrow, or should I say tonight, on Collision. I'm looking forward to seeing what Mystico can do going forward. So let's see what he brings to the table. The CMLL partnership, we've been getting some great matches out of it, so I can't really complain about that. Main event. The women got the main event tonight. It was Saraya and Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. I really couldn't give a shit. About the Angelo Parker and Ruby Soho love angle. Really means nothing. It seems like it's just a distraction. However, we did get a decent tag team match. This went about 12 minutes. And the women, they actually matched up well together. We had Willow with a fisherman suplex on Soho for a 2. Coming back from commercial, we had an uppercut and a power slam by Statlander. We had a running knee by Ruby and a running knee by Saraya. Chris Statlander kicked out. Statlander with a discus lariat. We had no future on Chris Statlander by Ruby Soho. Saraya accidentally hit Soho. Statlander and Saraya then traded strikes. We had a blue thunder bomb. Saraya kicked out. Soho then walked away from Saraya. She decked Harley with a right arm. Ruby was done with Saraya. And then we had Willow hitting the Dr. Bomb for the 1, 2, 3. Ruby Soho is on her own again. This is probably the best route for her as we go further and further into 2024. Afterwards, Sky Blue came out. The lights went out. Lights came back on, and Julia Hart was right there. Could we potentially be on the verge of a fatal four-way? A fatal four-way at the Revolution pay-per-view. I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind that at all. Although, I would prefer to see Thunder Rosa in there, because Thunder Rosa, she is the best possible candidate for the TBS Championship. But regardless of that, I am very, very happy that Julia Hart is back on TV. And if we get a fatal four-way, I certainly will not be complaining, because that right there is a pay-per-view worthy match no matter how you look at it. That is all that I got for you. Solid 2 hours and 20 minutes here on a Saturday afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into the stream. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do not forget to check out all the links in the description. Please make sure you set your notifications. Regarding the rundown for Elimination Chamber, the rundown for Revolution, the rewind for the Chamber, and the rewind for Revolution as well. It is going to be a damn good month as we continue to make history, because that is what I do. I'm all about making history because I've been the history maker since day one. Like, comment, subscribe, check out all the links in the description. Thank you very much to Raphael, Dylan, Big Boy, Johnny, and Sarah Habka, Earl Cole, James Punaseca, Dee Dee, The Final Horse, and so much more. You already know the drill, people. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, people, you got to tell me who runs the IWC, and I think that everybody knows the answer as to who. Oh, I'm going to tell you who the answer is. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever, ever forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.